Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of Five for Talking. It's been a while, but we should be back full time and in full force. I'm here with Caps, the captain of the show, and he's here to talk to you about Alexander Ovechkin.
What do you want to know?
Tell him everything about him. What color shoes he wears. He scored a goal today. Do you know what kind of goal that was?
It was the record-breaking um, all-time goal-scoring record,
I mean, yeah.
originally held by Wayne Gretzky at 894, and Ovechkin passed him today at 895.
Does Ovechkin score 900 this season?
I mean, Ovechkin, what Washington has, I believe they have about what
I'll tell you.
seven
I'll tell
games
you.
left. They
I'll
got
tell you
about
right now. They
no, they got about
have 6 games left.
6 games left. 6 games
No,
left.
five, right? 78, 79, 80, 80. Yeah, 5 games remaining.
5 games left because yeah, they finished today's game. Okay. I mean, couple hat tricks here and there. It's a possibility. I mean, let's put it this way: like we thought that at this point he would slow down. He's picking it up again, like he's 30-year-old Alexander Ovechkin. Um, so I think what he's at 40 goals,
41.
41.
So if he gets the 5 remaining goals, that will put him over 45 goals at his
I
age, which is
mean that
crazy.
that's just ridiculous at his age. I think someone online is like, 1,000. Um,
No, I don't think so.
I mean, if he decides to play three
I
more
think if he
years,
wins the cup this year, he's done. He's going to retire.
yeah, because I think he also talked about going back to the KHL to play there. So, but you know what? Like, I mean, he could just pull a Yager and you know go there when he's like 45 and play until he's like 50. So, I mean, it's not like he would not be able to fit in. His athleticism and his ability to score goals, he fit right in, at 45, and he
He'd be
wouldn't
one
be
of the
out of
best
place.
players in the KHL at 45.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of time for that, and who knows? Who knows?
Well, my brother's very convinced that he's going to get benched for the rest of the season in order to be
No,
ready for the playoffs.
I wouldn't. I don't know if you're at the notion of possibly getting to 900. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I
Maybe the
also
last
don't
couple of
think
games.
I don't know a coach right now that would have the balls to do that because the
Uh,
general manager, I mean the owners are making so much money right now off Ovechkin. Like he's a sideshow right now. There's just everywhere they go, the arena's full.
but in the whole grand scheme of things, this whole season was just like lights out successful for the NHL. So like this is just a icing on the cake of
Fair
everything
enough.
that just happened. But yeah, no, I see your point, and there's a possibility like if he catches 900 before the last couple of games, there's a possibility he might be benched for the last game.
If he scores 1 goal minimum in the next game, if he scores 2 goals for sure, I think he passes 900.
It's a possibility he scored 2 goals not last game, it's Friday night.
Yeah, I think he's on. I could tell you right now, actually, because I have it open. Hold on.
And there's a possibility he might have gotten a hat trick that night because he didn't want to go on when that goal that would have passed Wayne Gretzky's record would have been an empty net goal. He didn't
This is
want to do
his
that.
last 5 goal games. Goal, 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 2 goals, goal.
There you go. There you go.
And then before that, he for like 10 games, he scored a goal every other game.
He's just a beast, man.
And he
He's just a
called it. I
beast.
don't know if you saw the mic'd up play. He goes to the guy. He's like, "I'm gonna pass you the puck." He's like, "You pass it right back, and I'm gonna shoot and score." And that's literally what they do.
I mean, in situations like this, like his teammates are just looking for him, and they're kind of like, okay, let's get him the puck because he's going to be the one to shoot. But the funny thing is that the goalies know that he's going to shoot, and they still can't stop him.
Yeah, well,
he's
he's
just,
one. He just on raw shot, he's like one of the greatest of all time.
it's yeah,
There's
it's
very
it's
few
amazing.
people up there with him in terms of that like ability to just shoot the puck.
It's amazing what he's doing.
I mean,
But
and you don't really lose that with age. Like maybe in your 50s you would have a little bit less shot power, but you're not in your 40s. You're still going to be able to clap the puck, and you're going to be able to pick spots. You don't lose the ability to be accurate, right? It's like basketball players; they can still shoot 3-pointers at 50 years old. They just
yeah,
can't really like dunk anymore.
I
Um,
mean, the only thing that probably he might be losing at this point in time would be his skating, but his shot is
but
going to be.
his legs are so powerful, and he has such a good balance, and like his body weight mechanics, if you watch the way he leans into the way how he skates, he can still go, and he
Yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
stays on the ice beyond his like ability. He's not one of those guys that's just like skating around doing circles and like should get off the ice but never does. Morgan Riley. Um, but yeah, great. And I mean, I don't have too much Leafs. Connor McDavid's injured. That could be worrying for I mean NHL. Sorry, Connor McDavid's injured. That's a little bit worrying.
Leon
Um,
Draisaitl, I think, left the game as well last
yeah,
game,
he
or
did. It's undisclosed currently. I was going to say that. Thank you.
but I think Connor McDavid just started practicing again. So so
I
did
mean,
Matthew Tkachuk. Um, I don't know if Matthew Tkachuk has started practicing, but he's skating.
Barkov has also not played in a long time,
Yeah, yeah.
and they said that it could be longer. I read it today because I have him in one of my hockey pools. But McKinnon and Kucherov have both been great this year.
Excellent.
I like I said, we've said it multiple times on the show. I don't think there's anyone in a class with Connor McDavid except for McKinnon and Kucherov.
It's it's amazing the talent in the NHL right now. Like you got some really good players that are playing great, and
Uh,
Kucherov and McKinnon have been very, very consistent in the last few years.
Look what Pasternak's been doing with literally nobody on his team. So like the guys have shot at 100 points this year, and he
Yeah,
has
but
40 goals.
they got rid of some players, and they're going through a rebuild, and I don't think Pasternak was planning on going through this.
He
But
also was didn't seem very happy that all his friends got traded. But I don't think it's one of those situations. It's like an Austin Matthews type situation or like Connor McDavid. If you're gonna do some kind of rebuild, even like Sidney Crosby and Malkin, you can rebuild the team, but you cannot trade that specific player because their value is. If you're trying to win a cup, you need that guy. Are you going to spend 10 years drafting, hoping you get that guy back? You already have him. You might as well just keep him and build around him.
this is all in the hopes that the people that you acquire around those players, end up being really, really good. Because if they don't turn out to be good at all, then it's just going
Yeah.
to be a longer process than what you want it to be.
I mean, Boston's a destination. It's a place where people will sign. They're a big name. It's a big city. It's not like a boring place. People want to play in Boston. So it has a good fan base.
It's got good. They still have good players like
Yeah, that's
Pasternak's
what I
there,
mean, right?
Swayman's there. They still got good
With
players.
the salary cap going up, if they draft well this year, I'm sure within this season or next season they can bring in some big name free agents because they have
Yeah,
the
they,
money.
they can do a lot of great things in free agency or over the summer.
So we'll see what Boston does. Actually, I'd say that's a team to watch out for in the offseason. I'm not 100% who's available on free agency, but I don't really care. Um, the Capitals are
Mitch
just
Marner.
chugging along. Who?
Mitch Marner.
Yeah, you can have him. Capitals are just chugging along. The Leafs are 4 games up right now. I think Ottawa, Montreal most likely have sealed those last 2 spots. I don't see the Islanders making the Rangers making a comeback just based on how stinky they've been this year.
Yeah, like you can watch them. You could see that the chemistry is just not there.
You
Like
you
they seem off.
the biggest point of contention for me is when you look at 2 specific people. It's Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad, and they both just don't have it. It's like they all of us, like how what that we I was talking about this with somebody the other day, not specifically about these players, but just general hockey. There was a really weird period between like 2005 and like 2018, where like once you turned 32 years old, you were literally like a cancer in the league and nobody could have you. Like a 30 goal scoring James Neal became like, what are we gonna do with this guy? You can't pay him $5 million. And now they're throwing $5 million at like bench guys. Um,
How about
Brian
Shesterkin?
Reeves was $5 million. Shesterkin will
Mm.
get it together. I believe in Shesterkin, but I think it's watching Kreider and Zibanejad feels like those days where all of a sudden these guys turn 32 or 33 and they're just useless now. They can't do anything anymore.
So are they going to go through an overhaul during the summer, or
I think you have to move. You have to find a way to dump some of the people on this team. You got to
yeah?
figure out something to do because Panarin is not going to last you. He doesn't have that much left in the tank to be your top guy. JT Miller is going to be good if you can keep him. Adam Fox, Trocheck, those maybe like Lafreniere and the defenseman Miller.
It's
You build
crazy.
around those guys.
They got good players. They got good players, and it's just not working out right now.
Yeah, I mean their team's pretty stacked if you actually go through the whole list. It's we'll see what they could do. I think they're going to be an interesting team as well in the offseason between them and Boston. I think you're going to see a lot there, as well as maybe Calgary, because I don't think Calgary wants to do a rebuild where they stay in it for a long time. I think they're going to make big moves in the offseason. Maybe even Minnesota, because if they don't put some help around, what's his name? Uh, Kaprizov,
Mm-hmm.
they're in a little bit of trouble.
Going back to Calgary, like you got to tip your hat in terms of what they've been able to do this year. Like they got a little gem there in Wolf, but they
They
were able
keep
to
they
get
keep
rid of.
dumping things and they keep getting better.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like they got rid of their whole defense pretty much, and Kadri's just been lights out, and uh, you know, they're right in it.
Yeah.
It's a possibility they might make the playoffs, but
I think Utah too. So Utah next year will have a name and an official jersey and all of that. And within the next season, I believe, by the third season, they'll have their arena. So it's there's a good chance in the next offseason because they're right on the cusp of making the playoffs, like last year and this year. There's a good chance they're gonna throw a lot of money at the wall, like Seattle did that one year, and try to
mhm.
do something. Seattle's another mind-boggling one. Seattle's got for me's got 2 years, next year and the year after to figure it out, or they're gonna lose all their fan base and they're gonna end up moving from Seattle.
Yeah, I mean they're not that good. They're just
No,
not good.
they need to figure it out fast. They need to draft better because they haven't drafted really well at all. Shane Wright ended up being a bust. Their first year was not very good. Um, they're in a weird spot there too. Like I really want Buffalo to figure it out. If I'm just throwing teams out there,
I mean, yeah, we want Buffalo to figure it out because they need a successful season. Their fans are screaming for it, but the whole Eastern Conference is tough. It's
yeah,
just tough.
especially because I would say after this next draft, Ottawa and Montreal are going to be a lot better too.
And I want to bring that up because what Montreal's been able to do this year is borderline miraculous. They were like pretty much dead last.
Montreal and Columbus. We gotta talk about Columbus. Columbus should be the worst team in the NHL.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Maybe San Jose. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but still, I think on paper, when you look
but
at a
San
team,
Jose. Sorry, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
when you look at a team on paper, and then what they should be doing to what they are doing, I think Chicago is the worst team in the NHL.
But guys like you and myself, like we watched some San Jose games. Like you could tell, those guys, man, they're going to be
Oh,
really
they're
good in a
trying,
few
and they're
years.
trying.
Yeah, they're young. They need to develop, and you know, it's. I didn't believe it until I started watching a couple of their games. It's like, wow, these guys are actually really, really good. And if they can just continue to develop, those guys are going to be dangerous in a few years. They are fast, fast. But who was the other team that you're talking about?
Chicago and Buffalo.
Chicago's probably like
Columbus.
Chicago's probably like the more disappointing out of all those teams
Of all the
because
teams in the NHL, I think.
yeah, because you have Bedard there and he should be lights out this year. Like he had a pretty good year last year, but he should be moving up in his development. But it
He
kind of like
doesn't
looks like
seem to
he's
be.
declined.
Yeah, he does look like he's declined, but also his team is a lot worse around him.
I mean, like yes, this year the team is worse, but at the beginning of this year, when you look at the team, it's like they should have been better
Well, here I
because
can
they
tell you
got
right
good
now,
players.
he's played eight more games this season, and he has two less points, and they're both goals.
There you go.
So that just tells you right there. But they're not the way that they immediately built around Celebrini was really smart. The type of players they brought in were like guys that complement him and protect him. For Chicago, they're just throwing money at whoever will give them a player. Like, well, let's bring in Hall and Foligno and like all these guys. Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, yeah,
I don't know.
I
Um,
don't.
let's talk about the team you really want to talk about, and let's talk about how Nylander's second in goals this year. Um, I don't think it's negotiable at this point that Nylander is the best player on the Leafs.
I mean, you can make an argument for a couple other players. I mean, offensively, Nylander is the guy. But there's I find it that there's different players on this team that are playing different roles, and they I mean they play a part. Nylander is like their hidden weapon on the second line that nobody expects will come out and just like score the goals that the depth that they need. Um, Matthews and I mean Martin's been doing it for years, but Matthews this year is doing something that he hasn't done in recent years, and he's killing on he's playing on the penalty kill. Um, so you're eating up a lot of those minutes doing that and taking it away from 5-on-5, and that's the part that kind of worries me the most because 5-on-5 those guys haven't been really producing much. It's actually starting to come together in the last few games. But before that, I was kind of concerned over the fact that 5-on-5, like they just weren't scoring, and a lot of the goals were coming from Nylander,
Yep.
and to a lesser extent Tavares, which we should bring that up. Tavares has been
He's been
absolutely
really good. I
amazing
think in the last
coming
couple of
back
games
from
as
Four
well,
Nations.
Matthew Knives has looked. I said Knives.
Dangerous,
Matthew Knives has looked really good.
dangerous. Bobby McMahon has stepped it up. Everybody's been playing a part. And, like when I'm watching the last game against Columbus, like they're playing like a unit. They're really playing, together. They're being physical. They're not giving much up in the middle of the ice for the opposition. They're just pushing everyone to the side, which is great because it allows the goalie to see those shots coming through. Brendan Carlo's been really good in my eyes in the last few games. When he's not fighting brothers of, who are in the UFC, he's actually playing really good defense. To a lesser extent, Morgan Riley's actually building up a pretty good partnership with him. They just got to keep that going. Tanev and McCabe have been lights out, awesome. And I bring up Tanev. That to me, like on the defensive side, has been the MVP of this team. And it kind of was solidified last game when McCabe was injured and OEL was playing with Tanev, and it's like nothing's changed. And you could tell that Tanev is the glue for that back end. He's been awesome. So, I mean, they got good players. Matthews is starting to play great again. I'm kind of happy that it's starting to come together just before the playoffs, and I hope that they can carry that momentum into the playoffs.
Yeah, that was really well said. I agree with everything. Um, I think Carlo has been pretty solid. I'll tell you who's not been solid, just because I feel like if there's a once in episode point where I have to say it, is Morgan Riley.
Yeah, I mean, he's been chugging along. I mean, it's not like he's been like as bad as I would say, what, 3 months ago, when it's just like whoever he was being paired up with, it's just what wasn't working out. He's playing better. He has a long way to go still. Um, you know, I mean, there's still players on that team that still need to. Domi's been playing better. I know
Yeah.
you have. I know you've been talking about Lawton and before, and he's playing better ish.
Okay,
But I
I'll say
really,
I will agree. He's playing
yeah,
better ish.
yeah, I just want to see him get rewarded for his good play, which is not happening right now. And
And
um,
it's just a thing too, like so he came in, I ragged on him for a bit. Everyone goes, it's been 3 games. Okay. Then 6 games goes by, he still didn't do anything. Then 10 games now, I don't even know what it's at. I think it's at like 12 games. He's still very minimally contributed to this team.
yeah, 1 goal, 1 assist.
And even like he's not doing that much defensively. He's not being that physical. He's not winning that many faceoffs. I think he's on just under 50%, which isn't like awful. It's not bad, but it's not like you I would have went out there to find a guy that was like 55% on faceoffs this year. That's what I would have looked for my third line center. Nothing else.
Yeah,
Like because you got Lawton, he doesn't score any goals anyway, so you don't lose by him not scoring any goals. Whoever you bring in, um,
I
but that
mean,
line has been all right.
I know that they were trying to find other people. Like I think Lawton was. I think they were trying to go after Brock Nelson, but
I
he
think what
chose
they
to.
really wanted was Braden Shen
Yeah, and he said no.
because you have Craig Berube, but you're not paying what they wanted. They wanted like stupid amount for him.
Yeah. I still think that there are pieces that needs to be worked out on that third and fourth line. I think they're trying to find a spot for Robertson. They don't really know where to
He
put
was
him,
really good against
and
Columbus.
he was really good last night. I'm glad he was able to get away with, scored 2 goals out of that game. But yeah, like once everyone's healthy, um, it's like where do you put him? You know, Pacioretty's supposed to come back for the playoffs. Like where do you put him? Robertson, where do you put him? Camp, where do you put him? Um, you know, does miraculously Hakanpää become healthy? Like who comes out? I'm going to assume it's Benoit, but and that's another guy too. He's been pretty good the last few games. He was not that great before that.
Yeah.
Um,
I gotta say that because I even watched a lot of people talk about it to the point where I was like, I didn't think it was such a point of contention of how bad Benoit was playing compared to how good he's been in like the last 4 or 5 games.
yeah. So I'm glad. I'm glad it's coming together. Let's see what happens. And them playing the where they're playing right now, I'm glad they were able to beat Columbus because that was one of those teams that they were just not able to beat this year. And it's I'm a little more confident going into the playoffs. Um, if they end up facing Ottawa,
Every
which
game,
is
every game they've won in the last 10 games, I've been able to point at and been like, that's
that's a playoff type
you
win.
won a game you had to win.
Yeah,
You
that's a
actually
playoff
won a
type.
game you had to win.
Yeah,
You
it's
had to beat
like
Columbus. You had to beat Florida. You know what I mean? Whoever they played, I'm just naming out names. You had to beat those teams.
you had to beat Anaheim. Yeah,
You
you had
had
to.
to.
You beat LA at home, which is one of the best teams in the NHL at home. I was at that game, by the way.
Who did they beat after that before Columbus?
Well, last 4 games, they beat LA, they beat Anaheim, they beat Florida, and I believe
Yeah,
Columbus.
Florida. So it was Florida. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
You had to win those games.
And I'm glad you brought up the whole Florida thing. You got people online like, oh, well, they're missing, Marchand and Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk. It doesn't matter. They won. It's like they
Yeah,
won.
in
Like
their head they know they beat Florida. That's all they need to
they
know.
beat Florida. Just you know, like get over it. You know what I mean?
Listen,
But yeah.
it's a pretty good feeling knowing that you're how good you're doing and there's a chance you're going to end up with Ottawa. And I think this is something that where you even argued with me for a little bit that it didn't matter what place they finished in, but I think now you're starting to realize that if they win the division, it's actually going to be really important.
I would agree because Florida and Tampa are looking more like they're going to face each other, and
and let them beat the shit out of each other.
and they're going to beat the shit out of each other, and going into the second round, there's a possibility that Ottawa might really fight for their lives, and if Toronto can come out of that series fully healthy, you never know what can happen. It can be fun.
Yeah, it could be. I got one more question for you before we end this.
I got another thing after
Okay, so
you
you
asked me a
asked
question.
me, Stolars or Wall?
Stolars.
I think regardless of wins or amount of saves made in the last 5 starts each, Wall has looked nowhere near as good as Stolars. Like not even close.
Yeah, I know you've been talking a lot about that, but you know, based on what Stolars has been able to do in the last few games, and a lot of things have been brought to light. Stolars has been a lot more vocal on the ice, and he is actually communicating better. It looks like, from what I've been told or what I've seen, that he actually communicates a lot more effectively with his defense than Wall does. Wall's a lot more quiet, but the communication needs to be there. You need to be able to communicate with your defense. If you got somebody open, they need to be covered. All that stuff is effective, and it looks like right now, Stolar sees the ice a lot better than Wall. So,
Okay, we can't disagree with that.
you brought up Brendan Shen, St. Louis. Holy crap! What they've been able to do, because they were not in playoff. They
No,
were
they
not
won an 11 in a row, I
like
think.
12. I think they're 12 in a row now,
12 in a row now.
dude. Like, it. I know we
They beat
have.
Colorado twice in that 12 games, just for everyone.
I'm just saying, like, we have the tier list coming up soon before the playoffs start. I mean, I don't want to ruin it, but that may be an episode and a half. I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is this, and I'm not going to give him any credit. Okay, this is not me admitting credit. But since Canada won the gold medal, Binnington has been one of
Bennington,
the best goalies in the NHL.
it's crazy. I
And I
I mean,
still think he was the wrong. Even though they won, I still think he was the wrong choice.
I was on that train as well, man. Yeah, no, I agree.
Because I
I
still
agree.
think Thompson is like the best goalie in the NHL this season.
I mean, the facts are there, and Washington is doing what they're doing, but Bennington, my God, like, I
Let it
don't know where this
ride.
came from.
Listen, you
Like,
know how much money I won because they are always a plus? Every time they play, even when they're home, they're a plus. And everyone
St.
kept
Louis.
telling me there's no way St. Louis is going to win these games. I'm like, buddy, they're on a 7-game steamer. I'm not going to ride the hot hand.
I mean, they're doing pretty much what they were doing in 2019 and 2025. Like, it's
St.
you
Louis
know
has been the same team since like 2014. They're gritty. They have a weird amount of people that can score 20 goals, even all the way down the lineup that you wouldn't expect. They're very defensive. They're good at winning faceoffs.
yeah,
Like they're a solid, just defensively minded team,
yeah.
which is
They,
what I
they
hope Craig Berube brings to the Leafs.
I hope so
You got
too. I mean,
you got
they have that
Austin
winning
Matthews
pedigree.
out there playing defense.
I mean, yeah, and they're blocking shots. Like,
And
it's
at the end of the day, Matthews got his 30th goal and he passed 70 points, which means he's no longer in the we need to worry about him. He's going to have the worst season of his career because he's not having that anymore.
no. I would say in the last 10 games, maybe even less. Like, you're starting to see Matthews skating. You're starting to see him being a little more physical. He's got a little bit of that jump. He's he's it looks like he's feeling pretty good, and he
There
doesn't.
was a few times against Columbus where he looked like he was ready to fight.
Yeah. Like, and Marner, Marner had to stick up for him in um one of those uh situations. But you know, and months ago, like, when they would do a close up on Matthews, like, it looks like he's like gasping for air and he's like just dying out there. But that doesn't look like it's the case in the last little bit. And he's they're a little feisty, those guys, and that's cool. It's yeah. I'm not listen. I'm not going to go into these playoffs like pumped up. It's like let's go. Like they should be able to beat everybody. Like listen, I'm going to
Yeah,
be cautiously optimistic because whatever they do in a season, it doesn't matter. It's the success comes in the playoffs, and it is what
I
it is.
I think number one, we need to end this video. But number two, before we end this video, I would like to just tell everyone out there, including you, that what this must be kind of a special year or a kind of a special opportunity for the reason that this is the least I've heard you talk about the Leafs not making it anywhere ever in a season. Like you're so optimistic, cautiously optimistic in a way that I've never seen you be ever before about the Leafs since we did this show.
Listen, all I got to say to you is we need to end this video.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. Let us know what you think about the Leafs in the comments and tell us we're stupid. Goodbye.